The camera that shows the future. In the quiet town of Ravenwood there was an old abandoned antique shop that nobody dared to enter. The building had been closed for decades and the windows were covered in dust and broken wood. People in the town believed the place was cursed. Some said they heard whispers from inside the shop at night while others claimed they saw shadows moving behind the dirty windows. But one night a college student named Lucas decided to explore it anyway. Lucas loved exploring abandoned places and recording them for his online videos. He believed most ghost stories were just myths meant to scare people. So at 11:45 p.m. he walked down the empty street toward the antique shop with his flashlight and camera ready to record. The rusty door creaked loudly as he pushed it open and stepped inside. The air smelled old and heavy like the building had been asleep for years. Shelves were filled with dusty clocks, broken dolls, old paintings and strange antiques that looked like they belonged in another century. Lucas turned on his flashlight and pointed his camera toward himself, smiling confidently. He whispered to the camera that tonight he was exploring the creepiest shop in Ravenwood. As he slowly walked through the dark shop, something strange caught his attention. On the wooden counter near the entrance sat an old Polaroid camera. Unlike everything else in the shop, the camera looked clean, almost like someone had placed it there recently. Lucas picked it up curiously and examined it. The camera looked extremely old, but surprisingly it still had film inside. Lucas laughed softly and said this would make a cool moment for his video. He pointed the camera toward the shop and pressed the shutter button. Click. The camera immediately printed a small photo. Lucas waited a few seconds for the picture to develop. Slowly the image started appearing on the paper. At first it looked normal. It showed the inside of the antique shop just like Lucas had seen it. But then his smile disappeared. In the photo there was a tall dark shadow figure standing behind him. Lucas instantly turned around in shock. The shop was completely empty. There was no one behind him. His heart started beating faster, but he tried to laugh it off, thinking maybe the camera had some strange defect. To prove it, he took another photo. Click. Another picture came out of the camera. Lucas waited again for the image to appear. This time his face turned pale. The photo showed something terrifying. It showed Lucas lying on the dusty floor of the shop. His body looked lifeless and dark stains surrounded him. Lucas dropped the photo and whispered that something was seriously wrong. Suddenly the front door of the antique shop slammed shut with a loud bang. Lucas jumped in fear and ran toward the door, but when he tried to open it the handle would not move. He pulled harder but the door refused to open. The shop had become silent except for Lucas's nervous breathing. Then he heard something behind him. A slow, heavy footstep. Step. 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 Lucas slowly turned around, but the shop still looked empty. However, the shadows between the shelves seemed darker now, almost like they were moving. Lucas grabbed the Polaroid camera again with shaking hands and took another photo. Click. The picture slowly developed and Lucas felt his chest tighten. The shadow figure was now closer in the photo. Much closer. Standing only a few feet behind him. Lucas turned around quickly, but again there was nothing there. His breathing became louder and panic started filling his mind. He whispered that he needed to get out of the shop immediately. Just as he started moving toward the back of the shop, the camera suddenly took another photo by itself. Click. Lucas stared at the camera in disbelief and picked up the new photo. As the image slowly appeared, his entire body froze. The photo showed Lucas screaming while a tall shadow creature wrapped its long arms around his neck. Lucas looked around desperately and shouted, asking if anyone was there. At that exact moment a cold whisper spoke beside his ear. The voice was low and unnatural. It said, "You already saw the future." Lucas felt a cold hand touch his shoulder. His entire body trembled as he slowly lifted the camera one last time and pressed the button again. Click. The final photo printed out slowly. Lucas looked at the image and his eyes widened with pure terror. The picture showed the shadow creature standing inside the shop holding Lucas's lifeless body in its arms. At that moment Lucas felt the same cold hand wrapped tightly around his throat. The camera slipped from his fingers and fell onto the dusty floor. The shop became silent again. The next morning the police found the antique shop door slightly open. Inside everything looked exactly the same as before. The dusty shelves, the broken dolls, the old clocks. Nothing had moved. But on the floor near the counter there was a single Polaroid photo. The picture showed a terrified young man staring directly at the camera. And behind him stood a tall shadow waiting patiently for the next person to take a picture.